You are in medieval Europe. The year is 1215, living as a peasant woman in a small village under Lord William's domain. The morning air cuts through your thin woolen dress like a blade, and your bare feet already ache against the cold stone floor of your one-room cottage. Imagine waking to a world where your very existence is considered a burden, where your life expectancy hovers around 30 years, and where pregnancy is not a blessing but a death sentence wrapped in societal expectations. This is your reality now. The rooster has not even crowed, but you are already stirring the dying embers in the hearth. Your husband Edmund sleeps soundly while you prepare for another day of endless labor. The smell of smoke mingles with the stench of unwashed bodies and animal waste that seeps through the wooden walls. Your stomach clenches with hunger, a constant companion since childhood, but there is no time to dwell on it. Wife, where is my ale? Edmund's voice cuts through the morning silence like an axe through wood. You rush to pour him a cup of the bitter brew you spent yesterday afternoon preparing, your hands trembling not from cold but from the perpetual exhaustion that has become your second skin. As you hand him the cup, you notice the way he looks at you, and your heart sinks. That look means only one thing, and one thing terrifies you more than starvation or cold, or even the plague that swept through the neighboring village last spring. It terrifies you because you know that if Edmund decides he wants another child, you might not survive it. The Lord's tax collector comes today, Edmund announces between gulps of ale. We need 2 more silver coins, or we lose the cottage. Your mind races. 2 silver coins might as well be 200. You make perhaps 1/10 of what Edmund earns when he works Lord William's fields, and that is only when work is available. But then an idea strikes you, dangerous and desperate. Old Martha from the next village over mentioned that Lord William's wife has been having trouble conceiving again. Rich women pay well for herbal remedies, even from peasant women like you. It could work, but if you are caught practicing what the church calls witchcraft, the sound of horses approaching makes your blood run cold. Through the small window, you see them, 3 men on horseback wearing Lord William's colours. This is not about taxes. Edmund's face goes pale as he recognises the lead rider, Sir Garrett, Lord William's most trusted knight. Edmund the cooper. Sir Garrett's voice booms as he dismounts. Your daughter Meredith has been accused of fornication with the miller's son. The fine is 5 silver pieces, or she faces public punishment. Your world tilts. Meredith is barely 15, still a child in your eyes, but in this world. She became a woman the moment blood first stained her dress 6 months ago. 5 silver pieces. You do not have 5 copper pieces, let alone silver, but as Sir Garrett's eyes meet yours through the doorway, you see something else there. Something that makes your soul recoil. Of course, he continues with a smile that never reaches his eyes, there are other ways to settle such debts. This is when you realize that your nightmare has only just begun. The weight of Sir Garrett's implications hangs in the air like smoke from a funeral pyre. You watch your husband's shoulders sag in defeat, knowing that in this world, women are currency and men are the merchants who trade them. Sir Garrett, you step forward, your voice steadier than your trembling hands. Surely there must be another way. My daughter is just a child. Even as the words leave your mouth, you know they ring hollow. In medieval society, childhood ends with the first sign of womanhood, and innocence is a luxury only the wealthy can afford. The night laughs, a sound like grinding millstones. A child, she has flowered, has she not? Then she is old enough to bear consequences for her actions. He circles you both like a predator sizing up its prey. Lord William has need of serving. Girls in his household, young, pretty ones, fetch a good price in service. Your blood turns to ice water. You know what kind of service he means, and it has nothing to do with cleaning chambers or serving meals. But what choice do you have? In this world, women exist at the mercy of men's decisions, and every option leads to suffering. Please. Edmund finally speaks, his voice cracking like a boy's. Take me instead. I will work Lord William's fields for free, tend his animals, anything. But you all know this is impossible. A man's labor has value, but a woman's body has a different kind of worth entirely. The debt must be paid by sunset, Sir Garrett announces, mounting his horse with theatrical flair. 5 silver pieces, or the girl comes with us. The hooves pound against the earth as they ride away, each beat echoing like a countdown to doom. The moment they disappear from sight, you collapse onto the wooden stool by the fire, your mind racing through impossible calculations. 2 coppers for a day's laundry, 1 copper for brewing ale, perhaps 3 coppers if you sell the last of your herbs. Even if you worked every day until sunset without rest, you would not earn even 1 silver piece. There is one way, you whisper, the words tasting like poison on your tongue. Edmund looks at you with desperate hope, and you hate yourself for what you are about to suggest. Lord William's wife. She has been trying to conceive for 3 years. If I could help her, you know what they do to women who practice such arts. Edmund's face goes white. They burn them, or worse. They make examples of them in the town square. You stand and walk to the small chest where you keep your most precious possessions, a few dried herbs, a bone needle your mother gave. You and a small leather pouch containing every copper coin you have managed to save in 5 years of marriage. 12 copper pieces, not even close to enough. But as you hold the herbs in your hands, feeling their dry texture between your fingers, a plan begins to form. Dangerous, yes. Potentially fatal, absolutely. But it is the only chance Meredith has of avoiding a fate worse than death. I have to try, you tell Edmund, your voice gaining strength. If I can convince Lady Eleanor that I have the knowledge to help her conceive, she might pay enough to save our daughter. Edmund grabs your shoulders, his grip tight enough to bruise. And if you are caught, if they accuse you of witchcraft, they will not just burn you, they will take Meredith anyway as punishment for our family's sins. The truth of his words hits you like a physical blow, but what is the alternative? In 6 hours, your 15-year-old daughter will either be saved or condemned, and you are the only one who can tip the scales. As you gather your herbs and prepare for the most dangerous gamble of your life, you catch a glimpse of yourself in the small polished metal that serves as your mirror. The woman staring back looks far older than her 28 years, her face marked by constant worry and malnutrition. This is what life as a medieval woman has done to you, and you are one of the lucky ones who has survived this long. But today, luck will not be enough. Today, you need a miracle. The castle looms before you like a stone giant, its towers piercing. The grey morning sky with an arrogance that speaks of power and wealth beyond your comprehension. Your heart pounds against your ribs as you approach the servants' entrance, clutching your small bundle of herbs like a lifeline. You have never been this close to Lord William's stronghold before. The very stones seem to mock your threadbare dress and mud-caked shoes. Guards eye you with suspicion, their hands resting casually on sword hilts that could end your life with a single stroke. State your business, woman, one guard barks, his breath visible in the cold air like dragon smoke. You force yourself to stand straighter, drawing on reserves of courage you did not know you possessed. I seek audience with Lady Eleanor, you announce, your voice surprisingly steady. I bring remedies for her, ... condition. The word hangs between you like a secret shared in confession. Everyone knows of Lady Eleanor's struggle to bear Lord William an heir, but speaking of it openly could be considered treasonous. The guards, eyes narrow, studying your face for signs of deception or madness. Women who claim to have solutions for noble problems are usually one or the other. Wait here, he grunts, disappearing through a heavy wooden door that closes with the finality of a tomb ceiling. Minutes stretch like hours as you wait in the courtyard, watching servants scurry about their duties with practiced efficiency. A kitchen maid emerges, carrying a tray of bread that makes your empty stomach clench with longing. The loaves are white as fresh snow, a luxury you have never tasted. Your daily bread is dark and coarse, when you can afford bread at all. The lady will see you. The guard returns, his expression unreadable. But know this, peasant woman, if you waste her ladyship's time with foolish remedies or false promises, you will find yourself in the stocks before sunset. The interior of the castle overwhelms your senses immediately. Tapestries rich with color cover stone walls, and the floors are strewn with fresh rushes that crackle beneath your feet. The very air smells different here, perfumed with spices and oils that must cost more than your family sees in a year. Lady Eleanor receives you in her solar, a room flooded with light from tall windows that showcase the wealth of glass. She is perhaps 5 years younger than you, but her pale hands have never known the roughness of manual labor. Her dress is made of fabric so fine it seems to shimmer like water in sunlight. You claim to have knowledge that can help me bear a child. Lady Eleanor's voice carries the authority of someone accustomed to being obeyed without question. Speak quickly. My patience for peasant remedies grows thin. You step forward, your hands trembling as you unwrap your bundle of herbs. My lady, these are blessed by the moon goddess herself. The lie slips from your tongue with surprising ease. Chamomile to calm the womb, nettle to strengthen the blood, and you pause dramatically, pulling out a small vial of liquid you prepared this morning. Blessed water from the sacred spring of St. Bridget. It is actually water from the village well, but desperation makes liars of us all. Lady Eleanor leans forward, her eyes bright with hope that breaks your heart. How many charlatans have stood where you stand now, offering false promises to a woman whose very worth is measured by her ability to produce male heirs? I have tried every remedy the court physicians suggest. Lady Eleanor whispers, vulnerability cracking through her noble facade. Bloodletting, blessed relics, prayers to every saint who might listen. Nothing works. Tears gather in her eyes, and for a moment she is not a lady but simply a woman facing the same fears that haunt every wife in this brutal age. This is different, you insist, praying forgiveness for the deception even as you commit it. But the treatment requires ... discretion and proper compensation for the rare ingredients. Your heart hammers as you name your price. 10 silver pieces, my lady. Lady Eleanor's eyes widen. 10 silver pieces could feed your family for 2 years, but to her, it represents hope worth any cost. If this works, she says slowly, you will have your payment, but if you deceive me, she does not need to finish the threat. A commotion outside interrupts your negotiation. Voices raised in anger, the sound of steel being drawn. Through the window, you see Sir Garrett in the courtyard below, and your blood turns to ice. He has brought Meredith with him, your daughter's hands bound with rope like a common criminal. It seems your time is run short, peasant woman, Lady Eleanor observes, following your gaze. Sir Garrett mentioned a family of debtors who could not pay their fines. How unfortunate. This is the moment when everything hinges on a single choice. Do you confess your deception and throw yourself on Lady Eleanor's mercy, or do you double down on your lie and hope that desperation can work miracles? My lady, you say, your voice gaining strength from sheer desperation, that is precisely why these remedies are so powerful. They are born from a mother's love and a woman's need to protect what matters most. Lady Eleanor's expression shifts from curiosity to something far more dangerous. Understanding, she sees the connection between your presence here and the scene unfolding in the courtyard below, and her smile is sharp as a blade. How interesting, she murmurs, moving to the window where Sir Garrett now drags your daughter toward the castle entrance. It appears we have more to discuss than herbal remedies. Her voice carries the calculated coldness of someone who has learned to use others' desperation as currency. Your knees nearly buckle as the full weight of your situation crashes down upon you. You have not just risked your own life with this deception, you have walked directly into a trap of your own making. Lady Eleanor holds all the power here, and she knows it. Please, my lady, you whisper, abandoning all pretense of dignity. She is just a child. Whatever bargain you wish to make, I will accept it. Just spare my daughter, a child. Lady Eleanor laughs, the sound like silver bells with poison in their core. Sir Garrett tells me she was found in a rather compromising position with the miller's son. That hardly sounds like childish behavior. She pauses at the window, watching as your daughter stumbles on the cobblestones. Although I must admit, she is quite lovely. Lord William has always appreciated beauty in his servants. The implication hits you like a physical blow. You know what happens to pretty serving girls in noble households, especially when their lords grow bored with their wives' inability to produce heirs. Your daughter's innocence would last perhaps a week under Lord William's roof. There must be another way, you plead, but Lady Eleanor has already moved away from the window, her mind clearly calculating possibilities, like a merchant weighing gold. Perhaps there is, she says slowly, settling into an ornate chair that probably cost more than your cottage. You see, I have grown quite tired of my husband's wandering attentions. If your daughter were to join our household, she might prove a useful distraction from his current fascinations. Your stomach churns as you realize what she is suggesting. Lady Eleanor wants to use Meredith as bait, a pretty young thing to occupy her husband's desires, while protecting her own position. It is a game nobles play with peasant lives, treating people like chess pieces on a board of their own design. But, Lady Eleanor continues, her voice taking on a businesslike tone, I would need assurance that this arrangement serves my interests. Your herbal knowledge, for instance. I have need of a woman who understands ... discreet remedies. The meaning becomes clear with horrible certainty. She wants you to provide herbs that prevent conception, potions that could eliminate inconvenient pregnancies, substances that might ensure her rivals face difficulties Lady Eleanor herself has avoided. You would become complicit in the very darkest aspects of noble intrigue. I do not know such things, you stammer, though the lie tastes bitter. Every woman in your village knows herbs that can prevent or end pregnancies. Knowledge passed down through generations of mothers, who understood that sometimes preventing life is the only way to preserve it. Do not insult my intelligence. Lady Eleanor's voice sharpens. Every peasant woman knows such secrets. The question is whether you are willing to use that knowledge to save your daughter's virtue, or whether you prefer to see her ruined by my husband's attentions. Through the solar's windows, you can hear voices from the courtyard growing louder. Sir Garrett is arguing with someone, probably about where to house your daughter until her fate is decided. Time is running out like sand through an hourglass, and every grain that falls seals your family's doom a little more completely. If I agree, you say carefully, what assurance do I have that you will keep your word, that my daughter will be protected and my family's debt forgiven? Lady Eleanor stands and moves to an ornate chest, withdrawing a small leather purse that clinks with the weight of silver coins. Because, dear woman, you will be far too valuable to me to discard carelessly. A skilled herbalist who understands discretion is worth her weight in gold. She tosses the purse onto the table between you. Consider this a down payment on our arrangement. Your eyes fix on the purse, knowing it contains enough silver to pay Meredith's fine twice over. But accepting it means entering a world of shadows and secrets, where your knowledge of healing herbs becomes a weapon in noble games of power and revenge. Choose quickly, Lady Eleanor adds, her patience clearly wearing thin. Sir Garrett grows impatient, and my husband will return from his hunt soon. Once he sees your daughter, the choice may no longer be yours to make. The sound of footsteps in the corridor outside makes your heart race. Heavy boots, multiple men, growing closer with each second. Whatever decision you make must happen now, because in moments the opportunity will vanish like smoke in the wind. Your fingers close around the leather purse, and with that single motion, your old life crumbles like autumn leaves. The silver coins feel heavier than stone in your palm, each one a link in the chain that now binds you to Lady Eleanor's dark world. Excellent choice, Lady Eleanor purrs, her satisfaction evident as footsteps thunder closer down the corridor. Now we must move quickly. Sir Garrett cannot know of our arrangement, at least not yet. She moves to her writing desk with practiced efficiency, pulling out parchment and quill. You will be employed as my personal herbalist, with quarters in the castle. Your daughter will serve as my lady's maid, under my direct protection. The door bursts open before you can respond, and Sir Garrett strides in with all the subtlety of a charging bull. Behind him, 2 guards drag your daughter into the solar, her face streaked with tears but her chin raised in defiance that makes your heart ache with pride and terror. My lady, Sir Garrett bows stiffly. The debtor's daughter, as promised. Shall we discuss her? ... placement. His eyes rake over Meredith with an expression that makes your skin crawl. You realize with crystal clarity that Sir Garrett has his own plans for your beautiful daughter. Plans that have nothing to do with Lord William's desires. That will not be necessary. Lady Eleanor's voice cuts through the tension like a blade, through silk. I have decided to employ both women in my personal service. The debt is hereby forgiven. She hands Sir Garrett the parchment she has been writing, sealed with her personal mark. You may inform my husband of this arrangement when he returns. Sir Garrett's face darkens with barely controlled rage. My lady, surely you do not need 2 more servants. The girl could be better ... utilized elsewhere. The hunger in his voice makes you step protectively toward Meredith, though you know your presence offers little real protection. Are you questioning my judgment, Sir Garrett? Lady Eleanor's tone could freeze hellfire itself. Perhaps you believe you understand household management better than I do. The threat beneath her words is unmistakable. Even knights must bow to noble wives when they speak with such authority. Of course not, my lady. Sir Garrett retreats, but his eyes promise that this conversation is far from over. I merely sought to serve your best interests. He turns on his heel and storms from the solar, his guards following like loyal hounds, leaving you alone with Lady Eleanor and your daughter. The moment the door closes, Meredith rushes to your side, her bound hands making the embrace awkward, but no less desperate. Mother, what is happening? They said I had to pay for sins I do not even understand. Her voice breaks on the last words, and you stroke her hair while fighting back your own tears. You are safe now, you whisper, though the words taste like lies. Safety is a luxury that no longer exists for your family. You have traded one form of danger for another, perhaps more insidious one. Indeed she is, Lady Eleanor observes, studying Meredith with calculating eyes. And quite lovely. We shall have to be careful about her wardrobe. Nothing too fine, but certainly better than peasant rags. We cannot have Lord William's attention drawn by inappropriate contrasts. The meaning behind her words chills you to the bone. Even under Lady Eleanor's protection, your daughter remains a potential target for noble desires. The game has changed, but the stakes remain life and death. Now then, Lady Eleanor continues briskly, we must discuss your first assignment. Lord William's current favourite, a merchant's daughter named Isabella, has been growing rather presumptuous. She seems to believe her beauty grants her certain privileges that extend beyond the bedchamber. Lady Eleanor's smile is sharp enough to draw blood. I require a remedy that might humble her ambitions. Your stomach lurches as understanding dawns. She wants you to poison the girl, or at least make her sick enough to lose Lord William's favour. You have become not just a servant, but an instrument of revenge in the deadly games nobles play with human lives. My lady, You begin, but she raises a hand to silence you. Think carefully before you refuse, she warns. Your daughter's safety depends entirely on your usefulness to me, and usefulness requires results, not moral qualms. She moves to the window, gazing down at the courtyard where normal life continues, oblivious to the darkness being woven in the solar above. There are herbs, you admit reluctantly, that can cause discomfort without permanent harm. Stomach ailments, skin blemishes, temporary weakness. Each word feels like a nail in your soul's coffin. But what choice do you have? Perfect. Lady Eleanor claps her hands together like a delighted child. We shall start with something subtle. A few days of stomach troubles should remind dear Isabella of her proper place. She turns back to you, her expression suddenly serious. But remember, discretion is everything. If word of our arrangement reaches the wrong ears, both you and your daughter will face consequences far worse than Sir Garrett's attentions. As if summoned by the mention of his name, a commotion erupts in the courtyard below. Through the window, you see Sir Garrett speaking with a group of men you do not recognize, their dark clothing and serious expressions suggesting they are not ordinary castle guards. Ah, Lady Eleanor sighs. It seems Sir Garrett has decided to involve the church in our affairs. Those are inquisitors, my dear. Men who specialize in rooting out witchcraft and heresy. Her smile returns, but now it carries the coldness of winter frost. I do hope your herbal knowledge does not extend into areas the church might find ... questionable. The trap closes around you with the finality of a coffin lid. You have not just agreed to help Lady Eleanor with her petty schemes, you have placed yourself at the mercy of men who burn women for far less than what you have already committed to doing. But as you look at Meredith's trusting face, you know you would make the same choice again. In this world, a mother's love is both the greatest strength and the most dangerous weakness a woman can possess. The inquisitors remain in the courtyard. For 3 days, their presence casting a shadow over the entire castle like a plague cloud. You watch them from the narrow window of your new chamber, a small room in the servants' quarters that feels more like a cell than a home. Your first task for Lady Eleanor weighs on your conscience like a millstone. The herbs you prepared for. Isabella work exactly as intended, leaving Lord William's favourite pale and retching, too weak to receive his attentions. But as you watch the girl suffer, you see your own reflection in her pain, and wonder how many steps remain between who you were and the monster you are becoming. Mother, Meredith whispers, as she braids your hair by candlelight. The other. Servants speak of terrible things. They say Lady Eleanor has made bargains with the devil himself. Her fingers tremble against your scalp, and you cover her hands with your own. People always speak of terrible things when they are afraid, you reply, though the words ring hollow even to your own ears. The truth is far more complicated and infinitely more dangerous than village gossip could capture. A soft knock at your door interrupts the moment. You open it to find one of Lady Eleanor's personal maids, a woman named Agnes, whose eyes hold the kind of knowledge that comes from years of keeping noble secrets. My lady requires your presence, Agnes whispers, glancing nervously down the corridor. The inquisitors have requested to speak with all women who possess knowledge of herbs and healing. Her meaning is clear as cathedral bells. Your time of reckoning has arrived. You follow Agnes through corridors that seem to stretch endlessly, each step bringing you closer to a confrontation that could end with flames consuming your flesh. The great hall looms ahead, its vaulted ceiling disappearing into shadows that seem to writhe with malevolent life. Brother Marcus, the lead inquisitor, stands beside Lord William's throne like a black-robed spectre of judgment. His pale eyes fix on you the moment you enter, and you feel them stripping away every secret you have ever held. Beside him, Sir Garrett watches with barely concealed satisfaction, clearly believing this moment will remove the obstacle you have become to his own plans. You are the herbalist, Brother Marcus states, rather than asks, his voice carrying the authority of absolute conviction. The woman who claims knowledge of healing arts. He steps closer, and the smell of incense and old parchment clings to his robes like a shroud. I know some small remedies, brother, you reply carefully, keeping your eyes downcast in what you hope appears to be proper humility. Simple things my mother taught me. Nothing more, simple things, he repeats, his tone suggesting he finds your words amusing. Yet Lady Eleanor has taken you into her personal service for these simple things. How curious. He begins to circle you like a wolf, sizing up prey, and you fight the urge to run. From the corner of your eye, you see Lady Eleanor watching from her place beside Lord William's throne. Her expression reveals nothing, but her fingers tap against her armrest in a pattern you have learned to recognize as barely controlled tension. Tell me, Brother Marcus continues, what do you know of herbs that might prevent God's blessing of children, or perhaps remedies that might remove such blessings once they have taken root? The question hangs in the air like smoke from a burning heretic, and you know that your answer will determine whether you see another sunrise. This is the moment where everything converges. Your daughter's safety, Lady Eleanor's protection, your own survival, and the terrible weight of knowledge that marks you as dangerous in the eyes of men who see witchcraft in every woman's wisdom. Brother, you say slowly, choosing each word like stepping stones across a raging river, I know only what every woman learns from her mother, herbs for monthly pains, remedies for difficult births, potions to ease the suffering of the dying. You pause, meeting his eyes for the first time. If such knowledge is sin, then every mother in Christendom stands condemned. The silence that follows stretches like a taut rope, ready to snap and send you tumbling into an abyss from which there is no return. Brother Marcus studies your face, searching for the telltale signs of deception that will give him permission to drag you to the flames. Indeed, he says finally, and you cannot tell if you hear disappointment or approval in his voice. Every woman does possess such knowledge. The question is whether she uses it in service of God's will or in defiance of it. He turns away, and you allow yourself a moment to breathe. But then his next words freeze the blood in your veins. Bring the girl. If the mother speaks truth, surely the daughter will confirm it. Sir Garret's smile is triumphant as guards move to fetch Meredith from your chamber. You realize with sick certainty that this was always his plan, to use the Inquisitors not just to destroy you, but to claim your daughter through the chaos that follows. As footsteps approach carrying your child toward judgment, you understand that all your compromises and sacrifices may have been for nothing. In this world, a woman's love is not armor enough to protect what matters most. The game is ending, and you are not sure who will be left standing when the final pieces fall. Epilogue: The Eternal Cycle. 6 months have passed since that terrible day in the Great Hall, and I write these words by candlelight in a convent cell, my hands still bearing the calluses of work, but no longer stained with the herbs that once defined my life. The truth, when it finally emerged, surprised everyone except perhaps Lady Eleanor herself. Brother Marcus discovered that Sir Garret had been skimming taxes from Lord William's coffers, using accusations of witchcraft to eliminate witnesses to his crimes. My knowledge of herbs proved irrelevant compared to his theft of silver, and the Inquisitors departed with a different prize than they had expected. Meredith serves now as Lady Eleanor's companion, not her maid, a position that offers protection and education I could never have provided. She writes letters to me in a careful hand, telling me of books she reads and lessons she learns, opportunities that would have been impossible in our cottage. Sometimes I wonder if my sacrifices led to blessings I never could have imagined, but the cost remains heavy. I am no longer the woman who woke that morning 6 months ago, worried only about taxes and hungry bellies. I have seen how quickly love can be weaponized, how survival requires compromises that change the very shape of one's soul. The herbs I once used for healing became instruments of petty revenge, and though no permanent harm came to Isabella, I carry the weight of that intention like a stone in my chest. Lady Eleanor visits occasionally, bringing news of the outside world and small gifts that speak of continued favor. She never mentions our arrangement directly, but I understand that my knowledge remains valuable to her, even within these convent walls. Some bargains, once made, echo through years like bell tolls, binding us to consequences we never fully understood when we first agreed to pay the price. The other sisters here whisper that I am fortunate, that few women escape the attention of Inquisitors with their lives intact. They do not know the full story, cannot understand that survival itself can be a form of damnation when it requires becoming someone you no longer recognize in polished metal reflections. Yet, as I write these final words, I think of Meredith, safe within castle walls, learning to read and write, protected from the fate that claimed so many young women of our time. Perhaps this is what motherhood truly means in an age when women are currency. Spending yourself so completely that nothing remains except the hope that your children might have chances you never possessed. I do not know if I would make the same choices again, given the opportunity to return to that morning when everything began. But I know that tomorrow I will wake in this narrow bed, say my prayers with sisters who have their own stories of compromise and survival, and continue the endless work of living with decisions that seemed impossible at the time, but somehow became the only path forward. This is why you would not last one day as a woman in the Middle Ages, dear reader. Not because of the hunger or the cold, or even the constant threat of death, but because every day demanded choices that revealed exactly how much of your soul you were willing to sacrifice to protect what little remained within your power to save. The sun rises on another day in this harsh world, and women everywhere continue to make such choices, carrying forward the eternal cycle of love and loss that defines what it means to be human in times when humanity itself feels like a luxury, too expensive to afford. Some stories end with redemption, others simply end with survival. Mine ends with the understanding that sometimes survival is redemption enough.